So yesterday I got kicked off of Facebook. Isn't that fun? Part of my daily routine for running the Branch Moms, which is the moms group that I run in the western suburbs of Chicagoland, is kind of a daily, every few hours, if not every hour, maintenance of approval of posts on our large mom forum groups. These groups get hundreds of posts per week, and it requires eyes on it all the time to run it as well as humanly possible. It's not life or death, but we definitely want to make sure that the members of our community have a great experience. And when they ask a question, that we approve the post so that they can get the responses and the recommendations and the help that they need as soon as possible. So yesterday, I go on my phone when I woke up. I'm having coffee, sitting there talking with Jason, and I can't get on. It says I don't have internet connection. I think maybe our Wi-Fi's down. And then I try to go to my profile and it just comes up blank. No Facebook profile, no cover photo. And I then go to the computer. I was like, okay, something must be wrong with my app on my phone. And I go to type in Facebook and it first pops up and then I can't get into anything. And then the next time I try to open up a page to put Facebook in, it comes up with this weird error message, kind of query limit exceeded. I Googled what that meant, and it's something about API calls, that there might be too many API calls coming from my account. Anyway, I honestly have no idea. So I then sit and I think I can't do anything on this moms group. And many times people will send me private messages that I need to respond to. Again, not life and death. It's not something that has to be done every single second of every day, but we like to have a great user experience. So I have three other admin on my large Naperville moms group. And so I reached out to them, said, hey, I don't know what's going on. Facebook's acting really wonky. Is there any way that you guys could kind of take over? They all take a look at the group throughout the week and help me out, but I'm still doing kind of the lion's share of the post approval. And so they all agree to help. Everything's covered. And then I realized I can't get on Facebook. I can't do the work that I have to do normally throughout the day, every day. And a part of it was a little bit freeing. I was like, hmm, this is kind of nice. It's kind of a forced break from work. And I love my work. So I'm not complaining about the fact that I've created part of my business and community relationships in a way where I'm tied to a Facebook app. It doesn't bother me all that much. Although as the groups get larger and larger, I am hiring another full-time staff member to come on to help out with it, because at some point it does get a little overwhelming. But yesterday, Saturday, I wasn't able to do anything. And so that was wonderful. It was a nice little breather. We talk in Socket about what things in our lives we have to toss and get rid of or end, what things we want to recycle or change, and what things we want to elevate. And so I'm going to put this in the recycle category of something I want to talk about today. And that is taking breaks from work, or if you don't work outside of the home and you're taking care of kids nonstop, whatever you do in your day-to-day life that you feel like is a requirement and that everyone needs to take a break from sometimes, I'm challenging you to make sure that you're actually doing that. I know for myself, because I own my own businesses and entities, and I, I love what I do. I'm really fortunate that I love what I do, but I'll just keep working. If I worked for the next 3 weeks straight, never taking one break, there'd still be more work, because it just keeps going and going and going, especially with the moms group. So I didn't realize how infrequently I truly unplug from work, specifically the work I need to do managing the Facebook groups. And so I got a glimpse into a future where I have someone else helping me out on a more consistent basis and really covering a lot of that day-to-day approval. And I thought, oh, that's going to feel nice. It's going to free up my time to do other things that I also love to do for work. But I also want to make sure that I'm taking breaks as a human being, and that I am purposely unplugging from the work that I do on a day-to-day basis. Now, yesterday was a bad example of this because we are getting ready to launch what I'm going to call, it's either going to be the 12 elements of health or journey to health. And this is going to be something I'm doing on Socket, that every single month of next year, we're going to be putting out information, content, videos, podcasts about one element of health that make up a healthy human being experience. And in my practice, I see so many patients that are so out of balance in a number of them. And so I'd like to pull that all together in one place and be able to share that. So now I can't go on Facebook. So I can't do the normal work that I'm going to do on a Saturday. So I decided to just plug right in to creating what we're going to push out. I talked to my graphic designer that works for the practice for me and talked about the visuals that we want to have that go along with this initiative. And I sat at my computer and worked for 6 or 7 hours. So I did not do what I'm telling you is better to do. But today I woke up and I wiped Facebook off of, I deleted the app and reinstalled it. I had reset my password yesterday and I get on Facebook, no problem. I'm like, all right, problem solved. And I go, find all, all the messages that were sent to me yesterday that I didn't respond to, and kind of cleaned up all of the things that I needed to clean up with posts that my other admin leave up for me if they're a little bit, we're not really sure if we're going to post them or not because they're kind of gray area of our, excuse me, of our posting guidelines. So I get done with that and I'm probably on Facebook for all of 20 minutes and the same exact thing happens. It shuts down. I can't get on, says I have no internet. Jason, who's sitting right next to me, has perfect internet on his phone and we're on the same Wi-Fi and he can get on Facebook. So I go to the computer and again, it doesn't let me even, I literally can't even log into like www.facebook.com. And so today I thought, the universe is trying to tell me something. You need to slow down. I've been going and going and going and going and going. This whole year has felt like going and going and going and trying to figure things out and trying to make sure everything's okay. And it's just been a lot to handle. So for the second day in a row, Facebook kicked me off. And this time I think I'm not going to do anything. It's also Sunday. I should be relaxing on a Sunday, or a lot of people consider Sunday that day of rest. But again, when you own your own businesses, you're kind of always thinking, you want to, if someone's, reaching out to you on a Sunday, you certainly want to respond to them. And again, the Facebook groups, they never close. They go 24 hours a day. So today, I'll tell you, I'm part of me wants to get in a car and go to a cabin by myself with a fireplace. That sounds really good. But today, other than taping this podcast, I am going to unplug from the work that I do. And I'm going to enjoy time reading books. I'm going to enjoy time with Jason. I am going to head upstairs after I'm done taping this podcast. It's about 12:41 where I'm at. And I'm going to enjoy some amazing split pea soup that he made. He took the ham bone from the ham we had from Thanksgiving and made stock. And man, this guy's been rolling out some awesome meals lately that I have had the honor and the privilege of being able to enjoy without doing much of the work. I try to do the dishes when he cooks, and I cook as well. We have a partnership. We both do both things, but it is certainly nice to sit down to a meal that you love and enjoy it when you haven't shopped for it or done any of the work for it. So that's super nice. I'm going to spend some time just being quiet. I do a lot of talking, and I'm sure a lot of you do a lot of talking in your lives. If you are a mom, it's another thing I want to talk about is you need to find time, you need to find ways to get away. I have talked to too many moms that honestly, they have maybe a 4-year-old and a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and they have not been gone from their kids ever. They've never taken a night away. They've never taken a weekend with girlfriends. Many of them don't even do, a night out because the bedtime routine has to be them, or um, they don't know where to get the help from, or they're in a partnership where the other person says, well, I'm not taking care of the kids. I would really challenge you to make sure that you are getting breaks. Human beings, moms, people need breaks. Dads need breaks too. But when you're that key person as a mom to very young children, uh, it's so important to carve out that time. And maybe you're a single mom. Your husband works overnight, or your partner works overnight. Maybe there's reasons why you really can't rely on your partner to do it, or you don't have a partner in raising kids. And I would then look to other sources. Some people are fortunate enough to have family support where they can have their mom or their dad, or maybe a sister or a cousin, watch the kids overnight for a night. Some of them, for myself, we never had family that lived anywhere close. So we did have a great babysitter that we truly trusted, and she watched the boys a couple of days a week. And so every once in a while, we'd be able to go out of town. Of course, that was expensive because we were paying her for overnight. But if you don't have the finances to be able to pay a babysitter, or you don't have family that's willing to help you out, find a good friend that has kids maybe somewhere around the same age, and do kind of a swap. Say, hey, how about I take your kids? Maybe it's not an overnight, maybe it is, depends on the relationship and how your kids are with that. But maybe you find someone that you say, hey, I'll take the kids from 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock on Saturday one week, and the next week you take them. I just always have thought there'd be a great way to do some sort of, you know, kid share, almost a little co-op ish situation. And so the fact is that you can find those things. I think some people get stuck with knowing that they're going to take care of their kids better than someone else's, or they're not going to allow something. And you know what? That's true. If you want things done a certain way, you want to parent a certain way, when you have your kids go somewhere else, you don't have control over that. However, the downside of never giving up that control is that you never get breaks. And at some point, that just breaks you down. And you get to a tipping point, or some people do, where they've just had it up to here, and they don't know how they're going to wake up the next day and do this all over again, and the next day, 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 because it's a lot of work. Raising kids is so wonderful, but it is a lot of work. So make sure you get those breaks. If you can't take a long break for whatever reason is in your life, carve out an hour where you can go upstairs by yourself, lay down, meditate, take a nap. Make sure that, again, you're getting either little snippets of breaks or larger breaks. The last thing I want to talk about is vacation. Now, this year has been really challenging. We had a couple of vacations. I probably mentioned it before. A couple of vacations set up. One was spring break for me and my two boys, and then one of my best friends, Monica, and her triplets. We were going to go to Mexico for spring break because 4 of our 5 kids were graduating high school. Well, not only did they not technically, I mean, they graduated, but we didn't have a graduation. They didn't have prom. They didn't go to school for, they were online for 3 months or 2 months. And when it came time for the trip, as it grew nearer and nearer, because it was like in the end of March, so it was early on. And I remember 3 weeks out, we were like, oh, we'll be fine, everything will be okay, I don't think this is going to turn into anything too bad. And then as every day went by, Monica and I would text each other like, yeah, this isn't going to happen. So anyway, we had to cancel that. I also was taking a good friend of mine, Kelly Thompson, who was the original founder of NAPRO Moms Network, which is now the Branch Moms. I rebranded it about 2 years ago as it continued to grow into other communities. And it couldn't just be NAPRO Moms Network anymore. I was going to take her to a Rise Women's Conference, which is a Rachel Hollis event. And that was going to be in June. So of course that got canceled as well. And I have to give out a shout out to Rachel Hollis and their team at Hollis Company. I went to the Rise Business event in November of last year. I had broken my leg in July. I was basically at home for 3.5 months, and I was able to walk at that time of the event, but I still had a boot on, but I decided to go. And that is actually where the entire idea of Socket and doing a podcast and eventually creating online courses for you, that's where everything came together as a big seed in my head when I came home, started working on it and brainstorming and planning it and meeting with Click Creative, my graphic designers. They were on our podcast a couple of weeks ago talking about plugging into your purpose and your confidence and who you were meant to be. And they're just awesome. Heather and Stacy, they're awesome. And they do such a great job for me with the different graphic design and website designs that I need for the branch and for Socket. But anyway, getting back to vacation, that is another thing that I see people not make time for. And I understand that everyone has different economic means, different financial means. And so I don't mean it has to be some luxurious 5-star Ritz spa getaway for 3 weeks, but even maybe your family likes to camp. Maybe there's a local hotel that has a cool pool that you could go to with your kids, even for one overnight. Just getting out of Dodge, getting out of your house, getting out of your normal routine. And if you can tag that vacation with taking off your email app to your phone, shutting off Facebook, shutting off, whatever social media or whatever email that you get on this little device that we have in our hand that you might still need to have with you to have your phone service. But whatever you're willing to take off of the phone and kind of delete the app for the period that you're gone, I will tell you, I think it makes a big difference. I don't practice that all that well. And today it's going to be practiced for me because I don't have the option. So I'm going to see how well I can relax and really not even think about all the stuff that I'm normally having to do. So I hope you find pockets of time where you can get rest, you can recharge, you can replenish. And again, recycle this time off, recycle this thought process that I have to work all the time, and make sure that you're getting the breaks that you need. Thanks. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.